Hey guys, Coop here. Today we're going to start step one of making a leather sheath from beginning to end. Basically this video is going to be just the tools and leather that I'll be using to make what I'm making. Now, a lot of you guys, if you want to follow along with this, you don't necessarily have to use the same kind of tools and the same kind of process that I go through, but hopefully some of the tips and tricks and things I've learned along the way will help some of you guys. And I want it known right off the bat, I am not a professional at this. This will be my fourth attempt on a knife sheath, okay? And I've learned everything I've learned from reading and watching videos online. And throughout this series, as we move along, if I run across a certain aspect that I've learned and I have a link to where I learned it, I'll put the links down below of the person I learned it from. But I've learned so much, you know, I can't remember all of them, but the ones I do remember, I will put a link down below that you guys can go over and check out their videos or their webpage. Alright guys, like I said in the beginning, this first video is just going to be on the tools that you'll need to do what you need to do. You don't have to use all the same tools as me, but this will give you an idea of what I'm using. And right off the bat, getting into leather work, I'm going to tell you straight up front, it can get costly. You can walk in and say, you know, I'm going in to get one tool or one piece of leather, and you can walk out, next thing you know, you spent $100. But I'm going to try and do this as cheaply and easily for you guys as I can. And the main thing I want you to focus on is the actual sheath itself. You know, how to make the sheath. You guys don't have to buy all these tools right up front. You can, you know, slowly gather them. What I'll do is I'll tell you the tools that you'll mainly need right off the bat, and then everything else you can acquire slowly. Alright guys, well I'm going to pause you here and pick up here in just a minute with showing you some of the tools that I use. Okay guys, I'm back. Start off with, you're going to need something to cut with. You can buy tools to cut this stuff that are expensive, but everything that I've found so far, this little box cutter right here to me is my go-to guy. This thing here cuts leather better than anything else I've tried. And these you can probably pick up for like 99 cents or something like that at Lowe's. Okay. Now we're going to move on. That's your cutting tool right there. Now we're going to move on to dies. Okay, if you guys want to dye your sheaths and stuff, I've done a little research on this and I jumped into it gun-ho and really didn't know a lot about what I was doing. And I started off just getting the regular leather dyes. And then I was faced with a problem. Okay, what do I need? The rest of the stuff I need to seal the leather and protect the leather. Well, Tandy Tandy has a brand out that's called All-in-One, and this is it right here. And this is a fudge brown color. It comes in different shades. I just particularly got the fudge brown last time, but this has everything you need. It has your dye, your sealers, your softeners, everything you need in one bottle. And this stuff here, about $9 a bottle, but a little of this goes a long ways. Alright, now moving on with the tools, you'll need some leather needles. They're not real sharp needles. You can buy these at Tandy, or you can get a pack like this from Walmart, and I think they're like $1.50 maybe. You won't use all these tools, but there's a couple of them in there that you can use. And then we'll move on to the string. There's several different kinds. This string here, it's the wax coated. It's really nice, thick, and you don't have to wax it. It's already waxed. Or you can get the artificial sinew. And the artificial sinew, I did that on the sheath I did for Dave that was for his contest, and it worked out really nice. And then moving on, a V-gouge. Okay, I'll use this to, whenever I have the seam of this, the center of it where it folds, that's where the V-gouge comes in. The V-gouge cuts a V right out all the way down, so it's easier to fold your leather over. Of course, a stitching wheel. Now, if you don't want to buy one of these, you can use a kitchen fork. Just make sure your wife doesn't find out, and take your kitchen fork and just bend it to where your tines of your fork are about 1/8 of an inch apart. Then you've got your edge tool, and what this does is it rounds off your edge so it's not sharp. It goes along the edge and smooths it out. And for me, the most important tool is this guy right here. This is your stitch groover, and this thing is a must. What that does is it creates the groove for your stitches to ride down in, so they don't ride up high. That way it won't wear on your blue jeans or whatever. And plus you can use it to make decorative grooves as well. Now this particular tool is pretty expensive. It's about 30 bucks, I think. They do have cheaper ones like this, and there's nothing wrong with these. The only difference between the two tools is your cutting blade on this one is out to the side. So when you're pushing down on your leather, your cutter out here doesn't have any force on it to cut. Where this one, when you're pushing down on your leather, your cutter is right under your finger, and you got your guide on the outside. Plus you can take your cutter off and use it, or take your guide off and use your cutter for straight cuts. So this is basically two tools in one. I recommend spending the money on one of these. This little jobby right here is well worth the money. I mean, if you don't have it, you can get these a lot cheaper, and they work just as good. It's just a little bit easier with this one. Now, moving on, you'll need some of these little clamps. I use these little clamps when I'm gluing up my stuff. I put clamps on there to hold it till my cement dries. And then of course you'll need some scissors. You don't have to have one of these, but it helps. I use this to just lightly mark lines. Any tooling you want to do, stamp work or anything, like I did the basket weave on here with the camouflage pattern, any stamp or tooling work you want to do, you'll have to have a die. These things you can go on Tandy's website and get them for $7.99 plus shipping. If you look around on eBay, you can find them for $7.99 with free shipping. Same tools. Moving on, of course you got to have your contact cement. That's a must for gluing your sheaths. It helps you. Some of the tools that we'll be using I don't have covered here. You'll see them throughout, making the sheath, like a drill or a drill press comes in real handy when it comes time to make your holes for your stitching. And then moving on to, we've done dies, we've done needles, we've done thread, we've done tools. And some of this stuff you don't necessarily need. Like, you don't really have to put a groove. It'll still work, but it helps fold the leather a little easier. But you do not have to have one of these. Other than that, guys, this is basic. Oh, and a good hammer. I do not suggest you use a regular hammer, because what it will do is it will mushroom the end of your die, your stamp, and it will end up making it look like crap. And the hammers that Tandy sells are very expensive. So I bought this guy at Walmart for like $3, and this works perfect. Now, you can do tooling on the top of your counter or the top of your table or whatever you're doing, but I will tell you this, it will bounce. It will bounce everywhere. If you can find a piece of granite, I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you can find a piece of granite like that, it makes your tooling a whole lot easier. You don't have to hit it as hard. The table doesn't bounce. It just works so much easier. I happen to have had this, but if you can find a granite store or something that's got an old scrap piece, you know, ask them if they'll cut it, you know. But if you try and buy one of these from Tandy, they're about $50 and they're about 4 inches high, and I think they're 12 by 24. Alright guys, this is some of the basic tools for what we're going to be doing. I hope this helps. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them below. I'm really excited about this little series. I hope some of you guys join in and follow along with me, because I'd really like to see your projects at the end. Anyway guys, you want to put all your comments, questions down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them, and I appreciate your support. Appreciate the time you take watching my videos. Means a lot to me. And don't forget, if you're on Facebook and you want to go over and check out my Facebook page and hit the like button, it's appreciated. If not, you only wasted a few minutes of your time. And with that being said, my friends, old Coop's gonna say, Coop out.